All right, I think we're ready to get going. And thanks everybody for coming. It's great to see such a great attendance in person. And I think we've got a few joining us on Zoom as well. So I want to welcome everyone, both in person and online, joining us from near or far. Shout out to our traveling guest, Dr. Avi Shah, who is visiting from India. And so we are at now, I can't believe, our 6th annual open house. I love the open house at this time of year. It's a perfect opportunity to take a step back from our sometimes extremely hectic day to day and really reflect on how far we've come since I joined BC Children's to work with Kishore back in 2014. So the Hippy Lab has grown into an entity that's kind of beyond what I could have ever imagined. And Kishore's vision and leadership has made all of that possible. And it's all thanks to the incredible people on our team, those of us that are here today, but also a long list of extremely passionate alumni that have made great contributions to the lab, as well as the incredible people that we collaborate with locally, globally, including our amazing patients and families. And so just before we start, I want to start with a land acknowledgement. So the Hippy Lab operates on the unceded traditional and ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And we invite all of you to reflect on the current traditional and ancestral territories, lands, and waters, which allow us to work, live, and play. And before we dive into the programming, I just want to call up Kishore to give an intro.
Thank you all for being here, and those that are joining virtually, and those in future that will be probably listening to or watching this recording. Welcome to our annual day, and this is really a reflection on all the great things that have happened over the last 12 months. And this is, I think, the 6th time that we're doing this. And there's a lot of people that watch this afterwards, and especially people that have been supporting us. We truly now are the largest children's clinical research program there is in the world. And little did we know that this is, I think, the journey that we would get to. I still remember 2009 when Stacy joined our team as a physiotherapist, and we're trying to think about a complex problem for children's hips and with large wait lists and femoral heads that we unfortunately had to excise, and turning that story into now probably one of the best hip screening programs, the only one in North America that's province-wide or statewide, and really taking those learnings and working with others and learning from them, and also sharing our knowledge with the rest of the world. And that's not something that I thought actually would happen. But it has, and continues to grow. And same with many others in the lab that have come and joined since, and Emily. So we truly are a program rooted very strongly clinically and making an impact, a difference in the care for the people that we provide here in BC. Just this week alone, we were on a call talking about, Emily will touch upon that, trying to develop a Canadian care pathway. There are several people, there were about literally over 20 people on the call from all across Canada, giving up their evening and weekend time or early in the morning, 5 or 6 a.m. calls to try to work with those around the world to try to improve care. So it's truly a program that's local to global, back to local, rooted in that. And we would not be able to do any of this without generous support from a lot of people. Our own foundation here, our hospital, our university, but really the one that made the biggest impact and change for us is I'm a Hippie, and also Peterson Family. Peterson Family has been one of our single largest supporter over the years and continues to be. And to think about the generosity and to reflect on, I was at a 60th birthday party, and somebody who's been a long-standing supporter who could not make it to our gala this year said, Kishore, I have a check for you. Went back home and opened the check. It was for $100,000 with no announcement and not saying what are you going to be using these funds for, just the trust in the work we do, and they know what we're doing. And that's the kind of support that we have in the community. With that, thanks for being here. I'll pass it back to Emily, and I sincerely want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart, right from our clinical teams to our research people and our hospital administrators that are sitting here. I mean, this is a true teamwork, and thanks for all of your support. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Kishore. And to just to retouch on some of the points that you just mentioned. So, as a lab, our mission is to improve hip health, mobility, and quality of life for all children in British Columbia, nationally and globally through research, clinical care, education, and advocacy, with a vision of hip health and mobility for all. And everything we do is rooted in that and rooted in the principles of local to global, back to local. So acting locally to improve the lives of children and families here in BC and across Canada, but also by fostering sort of long-term collaborative partnerships globally to impact families worldwide. What we've discovered in this process is that we have so much more to learn from our global partners that we can take home and apply in our local context. And again, to reiterate Kishore's point, the only reason we've been able to sort of dream big as a group and take action on these local to local principles is due to so many incredible supporters and funders that make absolutely everything possible, especially on the Hippy and the Peterson Fund for Global Hip Health and all of our other amazing supporters. So we have endless gratitude to you all. So as we dive into kind of the programming overview of the academic year, I know there are many return attendees of our previous open houses who know this well. So thank you so much for keeping coming back to all of our lovely collaborators. And those of you who are new, I always want to start this off and reiterate that the work you're going to hear about today is due to the incredible dedication of our entire team and our many collaborators. So you will hear from a select number of speakers today, but every single team member makes invaluable contributions to making us successful. So thank you to our coordinators, our students, our volunteers, our clinic team, and of course our funders, supporters, and most importantly, our patients and families that contribute to the research that we do. So in the context of today's presentation, I also particularly want to acknowledge our team who pulled this actual event together, chiefly our senior global hip health coordinator, Tamara Dudley, year after year pulling this off, and then also managing director Jill Sloan, work learn student Zoha, and research assistant Misha De Silva. Really, but it was a whole team effort. And so as a lab, as many of you know, we focus on a number of different areas of pediatric orthopedics, but above all, we study conditions impacting the hip health and mobility of infants and children. So these hip conditions impact children's hips at different stages of development and in different ways. And we are dedicated to better understanding and improving outcomes across a broad breadth of research areas, a few highlights of which we're going to touch on. So to kick things off, I just want to give a rapid snapshot, high-level overview of our academic year. So this is from September of last year to August of this year. Our team has published 9 research studies that have had 71 unique authors represented, and 19 presentations and 10 posters at national and international academic conferences, with 52 unique authors represented. And the number of authors represented here signifies the depth and importance of our global collaborators, and these totals do not even include numerous research symposia presentations for our students who have had a chance to speak at BCCHR events and UBC. So those publication and presentation highlights are born out of an extremely busy pipeline of research studies. We currently have 77 studies ongoing at varying stages of the research process, ranging from ethics to publication. So these studies span a variety of research methodologies, from randomized control trials into scoping literature reviews. And they also cover an extensive number of topics, chiefly DDH, Perthes, some trauma studies, but particularly prolifically our studies related to CP and other neuromotor conditions, spearheaded by our incredible neuromotor team that we will hear from later on. So a specific example of this research that I want to highlight is that of recently graduated engineering PhD student and now Dr. Luke Johnson, in collaboration with his supervisor, Dr. Dave Wilson. Luke defended his PhD this past May, I believe, after spending 6 years with the Hippy Lab. He was studying Perthes disease. So Perthes is a condition that results in the death of bone cells in the femoral head or the ball of the hip joint, and that can lead to changes in its shape and cause hip pain and osteoarthritis for children and as they go into adulthood. And Luke's research used what's called statistical shape modeling and some advanced MRI imaging techniques to look at cartilage health and to really understand what hip shapes cause poor outcomes for Perthes patients. And he wrapped up his work here this year with multiple publications in different orthopedic journals, and he's now doing a postdoctoral fellowship at Northeastern University. So congrats to Luke. It's been a pleasure to work with him over these years. We miss you, Luke. And Luke's legacy with the Hippy Lab is going to continue. Dave and I, along with PhD student Jasmine, who is here today, are continuing some MR imaging work in the DDH population. Another area that we are really excited to be exploring is the application of artificial intelligence or AI and machine learning processes across our research. And in no way am I an AI expert. I get to talk about this today, but this work has been a truly multidisciplinary effort and speaks to the power of sort of our collaborations within the local environment here at BCCHR and UBC. We could not have done any of this without the massive contributions of the IRIS team here at BCCHR and the UBC data management team, both teams of which are represented here today. So thank you so much for coming. And so working, we also have sort of individual project collaborations in this area with a UBC ortho resident, Yusuf Murad. Duncan Stothers has recently joined our team to work on some of the areas of this. And we also work closely with Dr. Tony Hodgson and his team in UBC engineering. And the reason that this is a really big focus for us is that orthopedic outcomes are largely reliant on imaging with x-rays, ultrasounds, MRIs, CT scans, forming the basis of a lot of the objective outcomes that we look at. Typical manual measurement methods are time consuming and prone to human error. And this limits our ability to optimize the potential of the valuable information that we have in our research databases that I'll touch on in a little bit. We also have the opportunity to sort of take machine learning methods and apply them to discover patterns in the data and make predictions that we wouldn't otherwise recognize. So we've been working in that vein with the IRIS team on a prediction modeling project that's been led by student Tiago Amin. Tiago has been working with the Jonath together to use data from our hip dysplasia registry to develop prediction models that provide patient-specific outcome predictions. And we received a Digital Health Accelerator grant from BCCHR this past year to support this work. And I'm really grateful to the IRIS team for your incredible collaboration. We're also continuing to optimize models to automate image analysis and integrate that directly into our databases. So we have a manuscript in revision from Yusuf's work and partnering with Duncan to expand on these models. He recently had an abstract based off of this work accepted for presentation at the prestigious Association for Advancement of Artificial Intelligence conference in 2026. So our work here, we hope, will increase the feasibility of lower resource sites participating in research and allow us to standardize our data across all of our sites in both a time and cost-effective manner, while also sort of providing new patient-centered insights and clinician decision support tools down the line. So our work that I just touched on in AI arose due to our now really well-established Hippy Global Registry program and the desire to benefit from the valuable data that we have in there. So our registries gather data, both clinical and patient-reported, with the intent of advancing not only research, but also clinical care, education, and advocacy for children with hip conditions and their families. So on the scale in which we are conducting our registries, we also aim to impact global health and drive innovation in the area of hip health. So the Hippy Global Registry Program was born with the mission to improve outcomes and quality of life for children and families here in BC and around the world. And it's evolved over the last 10 years to an incredible collaborative research initiative with global reach. With 3 fully established registries now underway, we have almost 12,000 patients recruited across all of them from 46 centers in 11 different countries. Our collaborators come from hospitals and universities all over the world. And so we are always looking to improve our global representation. This past year, we onboarded centers from South Africa and Brazil to finally get representation on those 2 continents. And we are actively working with a past BCCH fellow to get his center in Nairobi up and running as well. And so it's truly a privilege to work with our wonderful collaborators across all 6 inhabited continents, and most importantly, the vitally important contributions of our participating patients and families. So our founding registry is the Global Hip Dysplasia Registry, as most of you all know, GHDR, and it's provided the foundation upon which all of our other registries are modeled. It was launched in late 2016, and GHDR aims to optimize treatments and outcomes for infants and children with DDH worldwide. In 2025, we actually crossed the 10,000 patients recruited threshold from 32 centers across 8 countries. And so GHDR, as I mentioned, was established to answer sort of some long-standing questions on the diagnosis, treatment, and outcomes of DDH in a truly globally relevant way, not just what's applicable here in the global north. With the richness of the data that we now have available to us with over 10,000 patients in GHDR, it's been the basis of the AI work I described. But we also developed GHDR for the purpose of developing targeted hypothesis testing studies like randomized controlled trials or comparative effectiveness studies with specific questions that can be performed under the auspices of the larger registry. And so to that end, those of you who attended past open houses may recall we received a CIHR research project grant to examine one of those specific questions, which is looking at bracing versus observation in a milder form of DDH. So we launched the RCT in 2024, and we've now recruited over 30 randomized patients across 10 centers so far. It's early days still. Recruitment is a little bit slow, but we're working away at it. And this trial is aimed at providing strong evidence to improve management of infants with DDH in a globally relevant patient population. We also envision this model of hypothesis generating registries, fueling hypothesis testing, RCTs, and comparative effectiveness studies as the foundation of our research program to maximize impact of our research and improving and advancing clinical care. And with all of this research focused on DDH, we recognize the need to meaningfully engage and include perspective of patients and families with lived experience. So at this juncture, I want to introduce our research associate, Dr. Bryn Zomar, to speak about this.
Emily. So we've done a lot of exciting work this past, 2 years, improving our engagement with patients and families. Recently, this work is led by our past master's student, Denisha De Silva, who defended her thesis back in May of this past year, and she's stuck around in the lab as a research assistant now. But she led some work with DDH, patient-family engagement. So she led a study doing focus groups with patients and families to better learn about their experience and their journey through care with hip dysplasia. And she also did a scoping review as well to assess the published literature for how different groups have engaged patients and families in the past. So it's been very exciting to really start and build on this. And what's come out of her work is the establishment or starting to establish a patient and family advisory group. Patient advisory group. Right now we have managed to recruit 2 parents who have started to work with us, and I'd like to invite them up to speak about what they've been working on so far. So Irene and Kim, please come on up. So they're the founding members of our advisory group so far. Both are parents to children with hip dysplasia, and we're very excited to get to work with them closely moving forward.
Yes.
And then Kim.
I
think you've got two.
That's not my first slide.
Oh, did we do it in the wrong order?
Yes. Thank you.
There we go. We'll go this one and you can just go back with the arrow.
And then I just
Yeah.
press it that way. Good morning, everyone. My name is Irene Liang, and I'm really proud to be part of the DDH Patient and Family Advisory Group. We're working on the Family Support Network, which is very dear to my heart, and I'll share a little bit about that later on. But how I got involved with this is through my daughter. As you can see, my daughter's over here, and her name is Mia, and well, she's been a Hippy ambassador for a few years now, as she shares her story, her journey with hip dysplasia, so no other child has to go through what she's gone through. As a picture up there, the collage, this is Mia's journey. And when she was 3 years old, she had diagnosed with a late diagnosis of hip dysplasia. She had to have surgery, which I learned it's invasive treatment. I'm so glad I wasn't aware of that back then. And afterwards, she had to follow up by she had to wear a spica cast and a brace. And eventually she had to just relearn how to walk again. During that time, I felt very scared and very alone. But two things helped me through this time. That first thing is Dr. Malpuri. Dr. Malpuri reassured me, and he said, Mia will be fine. She will be able to do anything she wants to do afterwards. Oops, I went too far. Well, today Mia is 14, and as you can see this Mia up here, she's able to do, she's just living her best life. She's pickleballing, volleyballing, dragon boating, what else? Tap dancing. She loves to dance, and so much more. So I really do want to say a special thank you to Dr. Malpuri and his team for everything. They've not just for Mia, but for all the other children that they've helped. Also, I'd like to thank someone else. I'd like to thank Kim Tae. I feel like it's a little bit of the Oscars right now, but well, Kim was my first family peer support she was volunteer. So I had asked for if I could connect with another family that's gone through this journey. And so they introduced me to Kim. And that was just so, so important to me. It helped me so much. Kim is so open and wonderful. She shared her experience. Her daughter has hip dysplasia, and she even lent me things I wasn't even aware I needed. And she came to visit, her daughter and her came to visit us in the hospital, and she lugged all the things that she lent us as well. So thank you so much. I feel it's coming to full circle, because being part of the advisory group and working on this initiative to help, it just feels good to be able to support more families with hip dysplasia and other hip disorders. Thank you.
Here? Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Kim Tae, as Irene mentioned, and my daughter, Ella Strode, is actually a year older than Mia. So she's 15 now, and at age 3, Ella was diagnosed with hip dysplasia. Actually, incidentally, when we went to BC Children's to kind of look at her abdomen, and they discovered, oh, her hip isn't sitting right, and also she doesn't have a gallbladder and blah, blah, blah. So this opened up a whole can of worms, and we were seen by about 4 or 5 different specialists at BC Children's, including the wonderful Dr. Malpuri. And so in 2013, just before her 4th birthday, little Ella had surgery. And as you can see, she loves to sit. She's very happy and content. And what was great is we feel so blessed that this X-ray detected this so early, because what we understand now is it's prevented her from having a lifelong pain, maybe needing surgery when you're adult and you're really whiny about it. Like as a child, she really didn't complain at all. No complaining after the surgery. I don't even think we gave her any drugs. Like she was fine. She slept well, everything. She was laughing, happy. So it really has, and what the surgery did is Dr. Mulpuri and his team actually reshaped her socket so that the ball of her left hip could sit properly in it. And today, Ella is actually today at 6:30 will be performing her first solo during her musical theater performance. And we'll be doing a song and a dance number and the hand jive from Greece. So we're really excited that, you know, she's able to pursue her lifelong passion of being a musical theater star in her own right. So anyways, during this entire process over the next year, while preparing for her surgery with Dr. Mulpuri, she wore the Rhino Cruiser, and she had all these post-op, and during the surgery and the post-op checkups and the bracing, Dr. Mulpuri's team and the nurses and the support workers were all so generous with their time and their attention. And they provided such, like, they greeted us with smiles and gifts. They would often give Ella like dolls and toys, and always so kind. And so similar to Irene, I was feeling really nervous about Ella going in for surgery. I was also pregnant, so I was also worried about the weight of her, but she was luckily very tiny, and I think 20 pounds, so it wasn't a big deal for me to carry her. And so they put me in touch with this mother named Sarah, whose daughter also had to have surgery and was going to undergo a second surgery by Dr. Mulpuri at the same time, almost identically, like right after Ella. So as you can see in this picture here, this desk that says "You Are My Sunshine," that's the special spica desk that some of you might know about, that has this protruding little thing that the child props and puts their legs over like this. So basically, she sat many hours in this. We put a foamy under there for her bum, and then she would play her ukulele and play with Granui the frog and make casts for him. She played card games, have tea, etc. So she was really content there. And we got used to our new life of, you know, having to push her back in her baby stroller, helping her walk again, bathing her on the couch, you know, that way with a hose. So these are just adapting to our new way of life, really. And like I said, lucky for us, Ella was not a complainer, so we were really lucky. And at this time, Dr. Mulpuri was actually starting, like, it was the genesis of the I'm a Hippie Foundation. And every time I'd see him, the businessman, the good salesman that he is, he would say, "Oh, you know, Will, being a children's musician, he's got to write a song. He's got to write a song. He's got to write a song for us." So, you know, and he'd keep poking at the idea. And I was like, "Will, you got to really write a song for Dr. Mulpuri here." So, so if some of you know, this is my husband. He's going to come up here today. And he actually, the I'm a Hippie Foundation, Regina and the team, commissioned Will to write this lovely rock and roll number that you're all going to get up and stand and do the actions to. And I'm going to be yeah, because, you know, you got to have your morning workout. Oh, look, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So everybody up also wherever you are. Okay. Now you're going to rock, and you're going to learn the chorus and the actions. So Will does music for children. If you don't know who he is, he goes by the name Will's Jams, not like the jam you eat, but rock and roll. And he has performed over 3,000 shows across the country, and is in the middle of a very busy tour. And he's like, "I can't believe you got me to relearn this song right now." But I said, "Well, it's for Dr. Mulpuri, so you got to come out." So he's not going to rap, thank God. There is a rap portion, and we are going to give you the MP3 to listen to afterwards. And one of the main things that I want to do with Irene and Bryn and the team and Dunisha is to launch the song properly, because unfortunately it came out during COVID. And then Regina had to stop the planning of the gala. And so we didn't even get a proper launch. And Ella had been to a couple of the galas, but I've heard now it's every 2 years. So what we hope to do is release a song in the meantime, and then have Dr. Mulpuri come up and do the actions on stage at the gala with the other doctors. Okay, so let's put our hands together for Will Stroke.
All right. Thank you. So,
It's called I'm a Hippie.
Yeah. So this song, I'll just a quick. I won't do the whole song. I'm going to do sort of an excerpt of it, and just so you know, hip dysplasia is a tough rhyme. So I did find some rhymes in this song, but Kim's going to help when it comes time for the actions. Here we go. diagnosed with hip dysplasia, with lots of kids from here to Southeast Asia. Orthopedic surgeon said, don't let it phase ya. Soon we'll have you dancing like you're in Fantasia. I'm a hippie, I've healthy hips. I used to stumble or sometimes slip. I had an operation, now I run and skip. I'm a hippie, I've healthy. Here we go. Shake your hips nice and low. Turn around like a tornado. Wave your hands up in the air. Shake your hips like you just don't care. Again. Shake your hips nice and low. Spin around like a tornado. Wave your hands up in the air. Shake your hips like you just don't care. Yeah. All right, I got one more verse for you. Hopefully I remember it. Here we go. Let's hear it for early detection. I caught it so early I have no recollection. Hips are headed in the right direction. Now let's dance with the rhythm section. Here we go. Shake your hips nice and low. Spin around like a tornado. Wave your hands up in the air. Shake your hips like you just don't care. One more. Shake your hips nice and low. Spin around like a tornado. Wave your hands up in the air. Shake your hips like you just don't care. I'm a hippie, I've healthy hips. Sing along. I'm a hippie, I've healthy hips. I'm a hippie, I've healthy hips. I'm a hippie, I've healthy hips. Yeah. All right. Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Mulpuri, for inspiring that song. But a song like that, just in terms of my daughter, it's when you're going through the surgery, you want your child to have hope and to feel good about what's to come, and that they can move. You can dance and you can have fun, and that's really my daughter's experience. A lot of dance, and we all dance at our house.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah, on behalf of the whole Hippy Lab and everyone here, thank you so much to Will, Irene, and Kim for teaching us a little bit about your kids and your journey. And thank you for being part of our advisory group. We really look forward to working with you. All right, so moving on to our next registry, the SLIP registry. This was founded in 2017 off the success of GHTR, and it's collecting data about kids with SCFE, so slipped capital femoral epiphysis. So a different hip condition, much less common than hip dysplasia, but still very important to research and learn more about. And we want to gain more information about diagnosis, treatment, and outcomes for these patients. So this past year, we surpassed 950 patients, so getting really close to that 1,000 patient mark, which we're excited about. We have 28 sites right now in 5 countries and expanding very soon, hopefully, to 6 with Dr. Avi Shah and adding his site. So really looking forward to that and adding more representation to the SLIP registry. And next, our most recent registry to join the HDRP is POISE. This is our Global Pediatric Implant Safety and Efficacy Registry, founded in 2022, I believe, is when we officially launched. Yes. So our newest registry, it encompasses kids with all different conditions. So trauma, hip conditions, bone tumor, limb deformities. And this is a collaboration with the ILDN team, so the Walk Tall team with Dr. Tony Cooper, and it's been great to work with both work collaboratively as a team. So this year we surpassed 400 patients and 800 implants that we're studying in this right now. We have 13 sites in 5 countries, and this is actually going to go up to 6 as of next week, where we onboard a site from Sao Paulo in Brazil. So we're very excited to further expand our reach. And it's also a collaboration with Orthopediatrics, which is a company that manufactures medical devices, medical implants for children. And we're better studying how these devices do, and yeah, how safe and effective they are. And I'll pass it back to Emily. Thank you.
Thanks, Bryn. And also just, again, another huge thank you to Irene, Kim, and Will for fantastic interlude. We're gonna have to work something like that in a stretch break every year in the middle. But finally on the schedule in terms of our Hippy Global Registry program, on the schedule to launch in 2026, hopefully early 2026, is the Rare Hip Conditions Registry, or RHCR. So with RHCR, we actually aim to better understand some of the multitude of more rare hip conditions that are not nearly as studied as DDH, Skippy, and Perthes. So due to the relatively small number of kids impacted by these conditions, it's been historically extremely difficult to, for individual surgeons or researchers or even at individual hospitals to understand how to best treat these kids. So using our well-established global collaborations, we are working together to better understand the natural history, optimal treatments and outcomes for these conditions. We are actually in the process of submitting a registry grant to the Pediatric Orthopedic Society of North America. It's due on Tuesday. We've been doing some scrambling on that this morning before coming down here. This project is a collaboration with multiple investigators globally, specifically Doctors Jason Howard, Evelyn Kwong, Yanis Wong, and Mihir Thakur are co-investigators on this grant from Hong Kong, as well as from the US, and then from a center in Halifax. We are starting this with the hip in spinal muscular atrophy and the hip in Down syndrome, but expanding out to 31 hip conditions from there. And beyond our research registries in the Hippy Global Registry Program, we also actively contribute to other ongoing studies and registries that are led by some of our global collaborators. One of these is the International Perthes Study Group study, or IPSG, which is run out of Texas Scottish Rite Hospital in Dallas, Texas. We've recruited 83 patients to IPSG over the years, helping to investigate outcomes of different treatments for Perthes disease. And finally, I will call up Stacy Miller to talk about the CP HIP program. So as one study that we contribute to here is the CP HIP Outcomes Project, which is out of Sick Kids Toronto. And it's a study looking at different treatments for hip displacement in CP. And so I will call up Stacy, who is an incredible physiotherapist and a superhero behind the incredible neuromotor research and clinical care team.
Thanks, Emily. I feel like I need to do a show and dance. I'm sorry, I'm going to be very boring compared to what has come before me. But those are not in my skill set, so I will pass. I just want to reiterate what Emily started with. I'm standing here, my colleague and I, Maria, really lead this research, but we are busy clinicians, so this work is really driven by the great students that we have the privilege to work with. Both co-op students, master's students, and not shown here, but also orthopedic fellows. So we have a number of studies ongoing. I think the last slide said 16. I try not to keep up, but they span a broad number of topics and methods, ranging from a systematic review on risk factors for children with cerebral palsy and hip displacement, spanning all the way to surgical outcomes related to the hip and to the knee. And really, all of our questions are very closely driven by the clinical care that we provide. You heard Kishore mention that we have a provincial hip surveillance program for children with cerebral palsy here in British Columbia. And we're fortunate to have that so that, as Kishore mentioned, we're able to detect displacement early and avoid the need for those salvage hip procedures. And while this is very much a clinical program, it does allow us the opportunity to study hip displacement in children with cerebral palsy at the population level. To date, this says 1,700. I think we're actually surpassed 1,800 children across the province enrolled. We actively follow about 1,000 of those kids. The remainder have been discharged from surveillance. But as I said, having that number and that volume of kids enrolled, it allows us to look at some clinical questions. So in the past year, we've looked at things like how the etiology of a child's cerebral palsy impacts their risk for hip displacement, as well as even just, are we following the guidelines that we set out to look to follow? In the next year, we'll look at things like how age and GMFCS level, or a child's level of mobility, impact their risk for hip displacement, really with the intention of being able to kind of further our clinical care and the guidelines that we use. Thank you.
Thanks, Stacey. And I will also add, in the midst of all of that work, Stacey is also doing her PhD. So incredible job. And so this sort of leads into the next section of our program, Care Pathways, which was actually inspired by the work of the development of the CP hip surveillance program. And it's become another major area of focus for the Hippy Lab. It stemmed naturally from, on the global perspective, from our collaborations within our registry work. These care pathways have created an avenue to sort of integrate the research that we're doing with tangible improvements in clinical care, bringing advancement to outcomes as a direct result of the research that we have globally. So what is a care pathway? So a care pathway uses the best medical and research evidence to standardize or create a map for the diagnosis or the management or the treatment of a given condition. And perhaps most importantly, a care pathway is region specific. So it understands that care solutions that work in one area of the world may not work in other areas, or even in smaller regional differences. So this figure here illustrates one such care pathway. And for those of you who have attended previous Hippy Lab open houses, you've heard about the collaborative work that our team did with societies in India and Dr. Alaric Arugis there to develop two care pathways in India, one for DDH and one for surveillance of hip displacement in CP. That process in India and our work with them has inspired an entire program and mission for us. We learned so much from our collaborators in India during this process, and that's fed our work on several more pathways that I will touch on in a little bit globally. But the first that I want to highlight represents our sort of full circle moment on our local to global, back to local mantra that we are rooted in. In the process of working on this in India, we realized that even here in Canada, we're lacking a consolidated standardized pathway for DDH screening and diagnosis. So that has now inspired us to complete a Canadian care pathway, and we are nearing completion on this process here. We've brought lessons learned in these global endeavors and have applied them into this work here. So Hippy Lab member and nurse practitioner Elisa Robinson, she's actually on mat leave now, so she's not here today, but she's still taking meetings for this on her mat leave. Kishore and I have teamed up with pediatric orthopedic surgeon in Alberta, Dr. Sapdeep Delai, on developing these national guidelines. So together with a panel of 23 experts across Canada, made up of orthopedic surgeons, nurse practitioners, family doctors, pediatricians, midwives, radiologists, advocates, and patient and family partners. We've just completed the third round of our consensus process on Wednesday night, I believe, and aim to release the Canadian DDH care pathway in the early spring. But the true unsung heroines behind this work are Manita and Sam. They have worked tirelessly and done all of the heavy lifting on this project. We're so lucky to have kept them both, began as co-op students, and then they transitioned to WorkLearn, and then we just couldn't let them go. So Manita is now here as a research coordinator, and Sam has stayed on specifically to see this project through as well. So we are very grateful to the two of you. And so although our main pathway focus this year has been on Canada's pathway, I have also been collaborating in the background with Dr. Patricia Moreno and her medical student, Patricia Halika, to kickstart this process in Brazil. We have completed the early stages of this process, publishing a scoping review on DDH in Brazil. And Patricia is currently engaging with national societies to perform environmental scans of the current DDH screening and diagnosis landscape there. And finally, in last year's open house, we spoke about the care pathway development process in Sri Lanka, and this was led by our very own Denisha De Silva, in collaboration with a Sri Lankan pediatric orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Sunil Vijayasinghe, and professional societies in Sri Lanka. The guidelines are complete now, and this year our focus has shifted to publication of those guidelines. The Sri Lankan team is looking towards guideline release and implementation. So fantastic job, Denisha, on that. And with that, I will hand the floor over to our managing director, Joel.
Emily. Okay, so you've already heard about a lot of our programs. They all include elements of local, global, local again, relevance, participation, and I'm going to speak to you about a few more where we're doing active outreach, especially working on engagement around the world and trying to bring awareness, connectedness. And the first one is about Hip Hope Network. So the Hip Hope Network, originally conceived years ago by Emily and Kishore and launched here and driven here out of the Hippy Lab, is a group of hip health professionals from around the world, all kinds of hip health professionals and all over the world. So it's a unique network of people. And it has been working on building community, advancing research, helping with professional development and advancing advocacy and awareness among the global hip health professional community. And some of the programs under the Hip Hope Network that have been growing this year include a webinar series. So we've had leading experts speaking and creating some engagement. We're building a library of webinars on different topics. And also we had our 5th annual Hip Health Day, which brings together all kind of research groups and advocates from around the world and recognizes the highlights and also different hip legends that we recognize every year. And so this year it included one of our I'm a Hippie ambassadors, Maggie Manning, and one of our Hip Hope charter leaders, Dr. Arujis from India. And so we're just glad and excited about all the momentum that the Hip Hope Network has been building. And on top of that, out of some all members meetings that we've been holding over the past years, connected to different regional society meetings, this year we're building and preparing for an event that is going to be a real step up. So a multi-day in-person event that's going to be here in Vancouver just on pediatric hip health. And so we're just about to get registration started. The agenda is firming up. We're organizing speakers. We already have 30 leading experts from around the world who are very keen to support and participate however they can, and many, many more. So the momentum is building. There's a lot of organizing to do. September 11th feels very close, not far away at all. Yeah, and it will.
Evening for reception. Oh, yeah. You'll have surgeons from all over the world. Yeah. A great way to launch the song. Yeah. My birthday too. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Talk to my manager.
Yes. There you go. Well, and it will include different expert-led discussions on all kinds of hip health topics. It will also include patient engagement and advocacy elements and networking opportunities. It's going to be a huge deal, and you can really feel the excitement and momentum building on that. So that is a big one. Also, we have really under Tamara Dudley's leadership and building a whole bunch of other outreach in terms of awareness and connectedness of the programs that we work on and the collaborators that we work with all through the year, now on multiple different websites, multiple social platforms, so many events through the year. This annual report just came out, so the latest version of that, it's so fresh. The static it's sticky, but if you haven't grabbed one, please do. And it covers all the highlights we're talking about today and more. So we're just really happy with building what has got a lot of compliments in terms of the ability to reach and bring the community together and keep them up to date on the things that we're doing, but also across the hip health spectrum. So that continues. And another element of that we support is led and driven by I'm a Hippie Foundation is the Hip Health Campaign. That's been running here at BC Children's Hospital for some time. And what it does is in the maternity ward, new parents are given some information that they we're trying to help people be informed and understand the importance of early detection and using the hip health and baby wellness checks that come, and knowing, what to pay attention to and what kind of questions to ask. So that has been happening here for some time. Thousands of information packages have been given out, and we're looking forward to growing that to other really busy hospitals here in the Lower Mainland, and eventually it'll be across BC. So that is building as well. And another one that's been running for some time, so nurse practitioner Sarah Pescatelli, she has started this idea to get these special trikes that kids can use when they're in a brace. So it's difficult on the parents and the kids and the siblings. So this is a trike that actually can be very friendly to when they're immobilized, as some kids are for sometimes a long period. So with some funding from I'm a Hippie, we're supporting getting these trikes. They go into circulation. It's a bit of a pay it forward model, and so often when they're unneeded anymore, they get passed on, and we're actually getting more of them now because we need to put more into the mix so that more people can benefit from these. So that's a great growing program that continues. And something new that started this past spring, we were reached by the diagnostic imagery group, I think from Smithers, BC, back in the spring. They were interested in advancing the knowledge and capabilities of their sonography techs, because doing scans on infant hips for this kind of stuff does involve specialized training. And of course it was like, well, great, we love to bring specialized knowledge back to the local setting. Immediately this became a program. It wasn't just a one-off. And so already there have been a number of folks that have come through, and we're turning this into something where we'll be making some funding available to support the travel needs and facilitate their visits while they're here. So that's something new that's now growing and exciting. I'll speak on behalf of another one, which is the Road to Grow program. You might have seen, we had a little video going outside here. This is led by Dr. LeVay and the Mobility Lab at Sunny Hill Health Center here. And it's something that we're proud to support with some grant funding from I'm a Hippie and Peterson. And this is a program for adolescents with cerebral palsy to be able to have the benefits, and there's many, from an active rowing program, physical, mental, social, all kind of different benefits. So that study is running here, and it has been growing since it started, I think maybe 2 years ago now. And so it now includes more participants. It's partnered with different rowing clubs around the Lower Mainland. And an important thing to mention about this one, just bringing back the local to global to local theme, was that this program was inspired by an inaugural Russell G. Smith visiting fellow that came here, Dr. Patricia Moreno from Sao Paulo, Brazil. She's a leader in our Hip Hope network, and she had started a rowing program that has grown very successful, and told that story here, and one thing led to another. We're doing it here in Vancouver now. So a nice connection that is being built off of our global network, and that we can benefit from regionally here in BC. So it's getting, a lot of success and a lot of love. And speaking of Russell G. Smith Traveling Fellow, we had recently, back in September, October, our two visiting fellows and scholars. So one was Dr. Jal Baraza, who came to us from Kenya, and his visit overlapped this year with our Peterson Scholar for Global Hip Health, Dr. Evelyn Kwong, who visited us from Hong Kong. So it was another nice knowledge exchange. So these have now been established for a few years, and we're into a rhythm. So we're excited and already looking to, okay, who are going to be our visitors next year. And also, as Emily mentioned, welcome to a POGO Scholar, Pediatric Orthopedic Global Opportunity from POSNA. And so Dr. Ravi Shah is here with us for the week, and we've been doing some knowledge exchange with him, which is great. And then I think you're going on to IPOS next week. So we're very happy to support this kind of knowledge exchange and collaboration, all kinds of levels, and in so many things that we do. One last thing. Well, I'll speak to the bottom part of this slide first, and that is that Kishore himself, of course, is invited and goes and travels around the world more and more. I can't keep up with all the different, there's a list in the annual report of so many different places where he's been invited to be a visiting professor, speaking at different kind of associations and events, you name it. So he is all over the planet. And something maybe I'll invite Kishore to mention. We've got a new milestone and promotion of Dr. Schaefer. And then we've got the team and then group photos. So if you want to help us close it out, I think that's the last deck. Is that? Oh yeah, sorry. We do have Martin's video. Oh yeah, right. Sorry, thank you. So we'll speak to those things, and thanks again, but I'm going to try and.
Hi there.
This is
for those of you that
I'm a
don't know
Hippy board
me,
chair.
my name is Martin Shen, and I'm the board chair of the I'm Hippy Foundation. And apologies that I can't be with all of you there today, as I'm traveling in Asia for work, but I would have loved to have been there to celebrate the Hippy Lab on this special day. So I do want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Kishore, Emily, Bryn, everyone over at the Hippy Lab, and certainly with Joel driving the bus. It's no surprise you guys have had as much success as you've had this year. I flipped through the annual report, and I'm just amazed at some of the accomplishments that you guys have had. And certainly bringing in Doctors Baraza and Dr. Kwong, I think show the worldwide reach that the Hippy Lab is having. So congratulations on all of it. On the foundation side, we've had a number of events this year, the annual gala, the golf tournament, a number of smaller community events, all of which is really just to raise community involvement and awareness for everything that you guys are doing. So we hope that our little events have been able to contribute in some small manner to the success of the Hippy Lab this year. So on behalf of the directors of the I'm a Hippy Foundation, I want to say congratulations to all of you on your successes. And we certainly look forward to seeing what you have coming in the next few years from the Hippy Lab. So congratulations, enjoy your day, and I hope to see all of you soon. Thank you.
So I'll bring you back to that, and then
Yeah,
we'll go
thank you. And yeah, thanks, Martin and the Hippy board. And we are joined here by Regina, who's actually the one that started I'm a Hippy, and the whole concept to coming up with a frog to everything. Honestly, if not for her and her vision, I know she's shy and she doesn't ever want to be acknowledged. I'll get into trouble. I'll get a few punches after this. But Regina, honestly, this is you, like all of the stuff. None of this and this version would have been possible without someone at one of the dinner tables saying, hey, Kishore, I think we need to do something to support the work that you and your team is doing at Children's. And honestly, I never thought it would be like this less than 8 years later. So thank you so much. We had lots of celebrations for our team and their milestones and achievements. And some are going to really, I think, change, the way that we're going to do and sustain things. So most significant one this year is Emily coming on as academic faculty through UBC. Those are not easy positions to create and actually recruit into. So thank you, Emily, and congratulations. So I feel blessed that at least the academic torch, I have somebody that I can pass it on to. So I'll have to just find clinically who's going to take over from me. And with that, we have a great new surgeon who's starting with us in January. His name is James Sant. One of our fellows is from Australia. He's coming and joining our team in January. He will be very integral part of, I think, our team. So looking forward to working with him. The other most significant thing is, I call myself a pseudo doctor. The real doctors are people like Emily and Bryn and others that have a PhD degree, and those are not easy to do, and it involves a lot of work. And so we're celebrating Stacy, who is now a candidate PhD student now, and she very successfully got her proposal through, and in the next few years we will see a lot of exciting new science added in that space that she's in. So Stacy, I think we're so fortunate to have you and your leadership over the years to transforming, really honestly transforming children's hip health around the world. But now to take this with working being a mom and a wife, and then a busy clinician here, and taking on PhD and adding new evidence. And she's also on the board of AACPDM, that is the largest association there is for cerebral palsy and developmental medicine. So congratulations, and super proud of you. Thank you. Abby, thanks for being here. And this is an incredibly busy surgeon that leads heavy private practice and practice focused on children's and adolescents hip and many others. Thanks for being here. We learned a lot from you this week. Look forward to continued collaboration with you and many others. And well, you made the day. Honestly, this is I knew this song. This was a long time coming, and we've kind of fallen off the planet for a bit on this song. But hey, I'm super excited about this. So we'll have to have a recording between now and September, and I think we'll have lots of these people and collaborators around the world, dance to this tune ahead of time with videos and everything. So we need a proper production of this, and the full launch with you on live, hopefully in September, so we can work with your very able manager and plan that out between now and September. Yes, yeah, we'll celebrate your birthday with the release of the song officially. Yeah, thank you. And thanks for being here. So I guess you have last few slides, but can I request everybody to come to the front for a group picture? Yeah, sure.
First, just a second. Just before we bring everybody up to the front to wrap it up, thanks, Kishore. And I just want to do one last big acknowledgement for, as I mentioned at the beginning, all of this is the works of so many people that are working so hard. We appreciate every single one of the Hippy Lab team members. You are the reason why we can do anything that we've accomplished this year. So thank you so much. To the whole Hippy Lab team, both clinical research, everybody integrating and working together. And also just another big thank you again to our supporters, and especially I'm a Hippy and Peterson as well. And now, pardon?